Certainly, our last speaker, but not least, it's my privilege to introduce the President of American Farm Bureau, Mr. Zippy Duvall. Zippy is a third-generation farmer from the great state of Georgia, and prior to his being elected President of American Farm Bureau, he served for 9 years as the President of Georgia Farm Bureau. Please join me in welcoming President Zippy Duvall.
Well, good morning, and I appreciate the invitation because I always love to have the invitation to come back home because I live 30 miles south of here where my farm is, and I really, really appreciate the opportunity to come back here. First of all, I am the Farm Bureau President, but I am a farmer first. I came out of college, bought my dad's dairy, spent 30 years milking cows. When I quit in 2006, we was milking 315 cows. We replaced them with beef cattle. My son and his beautiful wife, Katie, and she's in the room somewhere, Katie. My beautiful daughter-in-law, we are in partnership together with about 400 beef cattle, and we just recently doubled our production in poultry. This is my 34th year of growing poultry, and we grow for Pilgrim Pride. Most of our chicken ends up at Chick-fil-A, so if you eat Chick-fil-A, you might be eating one of my chickens. So we're proud to be Georgia farmers and proud to be part of this great college and colleges around this great state. Global Food and Security Summit, I had no idea I'd be asked to talk about this, but I'll bring a different perspective. The perspective I bring is the farmer's perspective. You know, our farm bureaus are interested in this discussion because we know that it is important that all people across the country have adequate food, and we know as we get them fed and they get up and develop their lives, they become more closer to the middle class of people, and they have more money to spend, and they can buy the products that we sell. So waters that rise lift all boats, and it would lift them up and lift us up too, and that's what life is all about. So farm bureaus are interested in that, and to show our commitment, we have two American Farm Bureau staff members here, Sarah and Scott. They work in our policy area to help push the farmers' policy and work with the congressman. And then Katie and Trips here from Georgia Farm Bureau. So we're very committed to this conversation. Speaking of policy, I get to work with congressmen from all states across this country. And you have two Georgia congressmen here that sit on opposite sides of the aisle. And they are the perfect example of how congressmen are supposed to work together for the good of the people. And I'd like to give them a special round of applause to Congressman Bishop and Congressman Scott. Thank y'all for your sacrifice serving our country. 9 billion people, and I'll tell you that our farmers are ready to produce that food. They're ready to answer that call. But there are limiting factors that we face. You know, our farmers today grow food for, each year every farmer grows food for about 166 people, 106 of them in the United States and 60 outside the United States. And we are limited to keep us from doing more by several issues. And these issues we work to try to push policies forward to shape policy that will help push these issues to the side of where we can be more productive. The first one is labor. I've traveled every state in the country, Puerto Rico too, and I've not gone to see their sites. I've gone to go out on the farms and talk to the farmers about the issues they face. And every one of them will tell you, I can't find enough labor. The biggest limiting factors that they have. We have great soils, we have great farmers, we have great technology, we have water, and that farmer will say, you know, I can't bring my son and daughter home and expand my business if we can't find the labor. We have to have a labor policy in our country. Bring people here that want to do the work on the farm. Americans don't want to do that work anymore. And I dare any of you to say, well, if you pay them enough, they'd work there. Well, you send your son and daughter to our farm, we'll see if they want to. Our sons and daughters are not raised to work on the farm. They just don't want to do that. And we got to have a guest worker program that is affordable, It's not affordable. Farmers can't be in America and compete with the rest of the world. It's got to fit our year-round needs. We've got to be able to, in Georgia, we don't quit working after frost and get and combining our crop. We continue to work through the winter, especially in animal agriculture. And we got to make sure that the talent that's on our farms today, that's been there some 10, 15, 20 years, that are undocumented, have some way to adjust their status and be able to remain on our farms across America, continue to do that work, because they're our experienced workers. And experience goes a long way from being very productive and safe. You can't just throw anybody out on the farm and expect them to do that work and be productive and be safe in doing it. So we need those three factors to be touched in a new bill that gives us affordable work. Then the other limiting factors are around infrastructure. Now, I hear Secretary Perdue, and I totally agree with him. What sets us apart from the rest of the world is our infrastructure. We can not only produce it, we can move it, deliver it on time, and we're dependable. Not all the world that is in agriculture can do that. America can, and we are set apart because of that infrastructure. And our infrastructure across America through our docks, our locks and dams, roads and bridges are crumbling. And we need to focus as a country internally to see what we can maintain that, because we have to be able to keep that difference between us and the rest of the world. In that infrastructure is not just roads and bridges and locks and dams, but it's about broadband. All the technologies that our universities and companies are releasing across the country out to agriculture need broadband access. We hear a lot about broadband access in rural America because of health care. Of course we need that. Because of education for our children in rural, of course we need that. But our farmers, which is the driving economic engine in every rural community across America, need broadband. Broadband is not a luxury anymore. It is a necessity. Just like the light we flick on every day. We have to have it to be able to meet the challenge of feeding those 9 billion people. And then, of course, research. Research and development goes on our land-grant colleges and great companies across this country, keeps us as American farmers on the cutting edge. That also sets us apart. But if we look internally of what our spending in research is, it doesn't match up with what's going on around the world. China right now is outspending us $3 for one, and that will catch up to us. We cannot afford to turn our head away from what makes us the leader of the world in food production. We have to have those monies coming back to our land grants to continue to keep our farmers and ranchers on the cutting edge of agriculture. Farm Bureau is a lot of you know it for a lot of different reasons. We're a lot of things to a lot of people, but our mission is to drive our farmers' policy. Not my policy, not people that work for Farm Bureau's policy. Our process brings that word, that voice of the farmer to our policy book, and we work to do that each and every day. And we work with congressmen and senators, foreign governments. We work with state governments and everywhere trying to make sure that those policies are positive. And then the last limiting factor that I would mention is bringing youth back to the farm. I mentioned that earlier when a farmer says he had everything it took, but he didn't have the labor to bring his children back. You know, we talk a lot about sustainability, and you can define sustainability many different ways. But on the farm, you can't show a young person getting a college education at this university actually that he can go back to the farm and actually provide a good living for his family. Then none of us would expect it. Agriculture if it's going to be sustainable, it has to be profitable. It has to be profitable. So those limiting factors that we talked about all go to providing the sustainability of agriculture and driving young people back to the farm to continue to let our country lead the world in food production. Our farmers believe in lifting everybody. We believe, and you heard about the exchange program about farmers going overseas to other countries. They would line up to share their knowledge and to help other countries. not just because it lifts their financial situation where they can buy our product, because what's in their heart. See, here in the South, we taunt Southern hospitality, being kind. But I've traveled this country, and I've talked to farmers on their farms. Southern hospitality doesn't just live in the South. It lives in the heart of all the farmers across America. They believe in helping people. They believe in helping move forward. That's why we work so hard to drive positive policy that helps rural America and farmers. I will tell you that I heard a speech that former Secretary Vilsack gave at an annual convention one year. And at the end of his speech, he just started to describe his life. And he said there was one word that represented freedom. Outside of, we recognize that the military provides us with freedom. But he said outside of the military, he said there's one word that represents freedom to him. And that was action. And he went on to explain because less than 2% of the United States population chooses to ride a tractor or stand in a dairy barn or walk through a chicken house or work in the field to produce the food and fiber of this country and this world. Because they choose to do that, it sets 98% of the population in America free to do what they want to do. Be deans, doctors, lawyers, policemen, and whatever they might choose to do in their lives. Because if you go back and look at our fathers and our grandfathers, what did they do all day long? They tried to grow the food their family was going to produce, consume. Today we don't have to worry about that. But other parts of the world do. And we need to fix that problem. And American farmers are ready to meet that challenge. One of the Bible verses that farmers keep close to their heart is one of my favorites, and it comes from Colossians 3:23. And it says, whatever you do in life, whatever you do, brother, sister, husband, wife, farmer, banker, policeman, dean, whatever you do in life, do it with all your heart. So you were doing it for the Lord, not for man. Our farmers keep that close to their heart, and they not only think about their friends and neighbors around them in America, but they think about the people around the world. And they want to make sure that every child has the opportunity to have good food, nourish their bodies so they can educate themselves and lift themselves up out of whatever they're in, so that they can contribute to the world population in a way that's positive and help everyone. Secretary Perdue's motto at USDA today is to work hard and feed everybody. And the American farmer shares that motto today. So we're proud to be here with you. We're proud to have this conversation with you. And as long as you're talking about feeding people and helping people, the American farmer will always be there to stand by your side. Thank you, and God bless you.